it's Riasha. Welcome to May We Talk series, episode 14. How did we get here? Season 3. Today we'll be talking about healing. The whole season is going to be about healing. So as you will have seen, those of you that are already within the community, those of you that have just come to see Daughters of May and our new followers, you will have seen recent posts talking about my own personal healing journey. And today we have got Tazi sharing with us her practice of Qigong and the different healing benefits of that. So we're going to go into the Qigong practice and ritual as she knows it, and then we're going to talk about self-knowledge and longevity. So longevity meaning how we can sustain ourselves using different physical and mental and even spiritual practice. Self-knowledge as far as knowing ourselves, and not just knowing our former self, knowing ourselves where we are right now, physically, mentally, emotionally, and how to work with ourselves so that we can then enjoy longevity. See what I did there? So before I bring Tazi on, just a bit of background. If you are new to Daughters of May, then you will know that we are an intergenerational safe space for Black women to exchange tools for mental health and well-being. And if you have been with us before in season 1 and season 2, then again, you already know what this is all about. So as I said, season 3 is going to be looking at healing. And we've got Tazi Edwards-Smalls, and she's a teacher of Qigong, and she's the founder of Senbisa Massage Company, all of which she'll tell us more about today. So just a little bit of housekeeping before I bring Tazi on. Any information shared today, let me just, it's my favorite song as well. Let me just let it run just a little bit. You will have heard this in all of the promo for May We Talk series. And it's Sanity, featuring Melonix and Blue Labs. And I just love it. And so you already know, if you've been with us in the community for a while, that Melonix are personal friends of mine, and this is one of their latest tracks, and I absolutely love it. I will not stop plugging their music. Sorry, not sorry. But back to today's May We Talk series. So we've done the housekeeping. The additional information is I am not an expert. Tazi is not an expert. She is knowledgeable in her field. She has got 20 years or so of experience in her field. And if anyone is going to be an expert, it's her. But we're not here to diagnose, to offer an alternative to medicalization. So this is just for entertainment and educational purposes. It does not replace the advice of your GP or medical practitioner, but we invite you to look and listen and possibly even partake in the tools that we offer and signpost for your own mental well-being. So, as I said, we're going to be looking at longevity, and I just want to bring up something that has come to mind for me recently. In my studies, as you know, a lot of you know that I've been a lifelong learner, and I've just come to the end of my degree with the Open University and Leeds Beckett, looking mostly at social psychology and psychology. Be a little bit of a connection issue there. Hopefully we're good. We know that a healthier lifestyle and the advancements of technology in the general public and population has then led to an aging population. But this could be a positive thing, but it could also mean that we are demanding more of ourselves mentally, physically, emotionally, and functionally. So things like Qigong, when that came to my knowledge, became something of great interest. And so I'm definitely really interested to speak with Tazi and find out how she finds it to be something that adds great benefit and something that is of value to an aging population. Tazi has developed an accessible, globally inclusive model of Qigong, and she promotes it as a practice or a ritual that can positively impact us on all of the levels that I've just spoken about. So without further ado, let me invite up Tazi. I hope you're all really well. Thank you for joining us. Let me see who we've got in. Amazing. Thank you for joining us. So Tazi is coming up now in all her glory and beauty. Good evening, Tazi.
How are you doing? Can you hear me
Good.
okay?
I can hear you really well. I can hear you really well. Can you hear
I can hear
me?
you really well.
I'm
Thanks
really
for
good.
joining us. Let me
I,
see who we've got in.
the only
Amazing.
thing is we've got a
Thank you for
little bit
joining
of feedback,
us.
so you might
So
need to
Tazi is
turn down the volume on the phone because it's repeating back. Good evening, Tazi.
good
There we
evening.
go.
Can you still hear me okay? I'm not sure if my volume's high enough. One
That might be
second.
a bit better. We can definitely hear like a repeat, an echo.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I had one system on. I've just
Hmm.
turned it off and I just
Okay.
want to know.
My mum's just joined. Hi, mum.
I can hear that I've lost my audio.
I can hear you quite well. Can you hear me?
Okay. So far I can barely hear you, but
Oh,
we're here now.
maybe
So
you can
we're here.
turn it up a little bit more. You can try that. I'll just wave at some of the people that have joined us while you do that. Okay.
Okay, 2 seconds.
No problem, no stress. So as I was saying, Tazi has around, she'll tell us herself, but she has around 20 years of practice in the holistic health space. She's developed an accessible and globally inclusive model of Qigong, which she'll tell us more about. And she promotes it as a practice or ritual even that can positively impact us emotionally, physically, and mentally. And today we'll be discussing Qigong, we'll be discussing self-knowledge and longevity. So, those of you that are new to Daughters of May, thank you again for joining us. Tazi's just sorting out the technical side, and she'll be right with us in a few seconds. What can I tell you about my journey while we're waiting? Um, as I've just kind of posted in a most recent reel on Daughters of May, you'll see that my physicality has definitely been affected by a personal condition that has really changed the way I look at exercise and really changed the way I look at intensity as far as physical aspects of my health. But it's also had an effect on different areas as well. So that's what actually led me to looking more into Tazi, who's back with us now, and the work that she does. So I've said a lot about you, Tazi, but in a few words, could you just kind of surmise who you are and what you're all about, please? And welcome again.
Thank you for having me.
Of
Yeah,
course.
my name is Tazi. So I work as a holistic health practitioner. So I've been running my own business from around 2017, based in Nottingham, and I specialise in medical massage, fire cupping, and holistic massage, meditation, and Qigong. So the name of the business is Sambisa Massage Therapy and Qigong. And I
Right,
think for
okay.
the purposes of this evening, we're just focusing on the Qigong aspect.
That's right. But anytime that you feel the Senvisa and the massage is relevant, that's absolutely fine to throw that in. We're more than interested in all things wellness. So that's absolutely fine whenever you feel, it fits. So I thought we'd have a little fun at first. And it's first thing, just make sure that you're relaxed because this is just community. This is all family and friends, people from your platform, my platform, and with Daughters of May. Everyone's just here to share, exchange, and learn more about their well-being. I thought we could have some fun and pretend that we are in an elevator and you've got 3 floors and I'm one of the corporate types. I'm just minding my business, probably on social media, not actually um, paying attention to whatever meeting I'm about to go into. And as we ascend, you are going to do an elevator pitch of what is Qigong, because until I met you, I'd never heard of it. So, what is Qigong? Why is it beneficial? And why on earth do I need to stop looking at Instagram and look up, or TikTok and look up and pay attention to Qigong?
Okay. The simplest, have you heard of Tai Chi?
I have. My grandma used to do it, funnily enough.
Okay. So you would describe Qigong as the mother and father to Tai Chi. So
Mm,
why do we say that? We say that because when we're looking at Qigong, we're thinking about the internal energy system. So that core energy that you essentially come to earth with that sustains you.
Mm-hmm.
So whereas Tai Chi is very much, nice external soothing movements, Qigong is more internal. So it will involve a lot of breathing and very, very gentle movements based on
Yes.
repetition to help improve your organ energy systems. So when we say your organ energy systems, we're talking about the heart, the liver, the lungs, the spleen, the kidneys. And having said that, in Qigong, there's actually a hierarchy to health. And that
Oh.
hierarchy is we have to focus on our kidney energy system because that's
Mm-hmm.
the energy that we come to earth with. That's like our inheritance.
That's so
Yes?
interesting. And a lot of thank you. That was amazing, by the way. Very concise. Um, a lot of attention often goes to maybe the heart, circulation, especially in the mass media. They talk about cholesterol, excuse me, cholesterol and heart health and fat, the importance of keeping, that kind of lower so that we maintain good circulation and things. So to hear that there's another organ, that the kidney is centered in this practice is really interesting to me. Um, Secondly, what drew you to Qigong? What was your journey to becoming both, maybe first a learner and then a practitioner or teacher?
Yeah. And it's just to say that when we talk about Qigong, we're talking about the energy system. So not
Okay.
necessarily just the organ itself, but the
Mm-hmm.
energy system of that
The
organ.
whole being.
Um, yeah, because what drew me to Qigong, looking at the kidney energy system, which is such a perfect example, is that it can manifest in different ways. So if there's a deficiency, meaning if that kidney energy system isn't working as well as it could be, you're going to be seeing things like insomnia,
Mm-hmm.
um, tinnitus, earache, losing hair, premature ejaculation, weak bones, weak teeth. So all these types of things, although they're thinking, oh, this is manifesting all over the body, what's going on here?
Mm-hmm.
This is actually a weakness in the kidney energy system. You see it as well
Makes sense.
where people may be full of fear or they're very insecure to the point where they're just holding, when we say people are gravelicious and they're just holding on to things and they want more, but that insecurity is driving them because there's a weakness in that kidney energy system. And you
Mm-hmm.
can also see it where people are having fertility issues, that aren't related to anything as part of people's genetics, but where people are having fertility issues, the
Mm-hmm.
reproductive organs are related to your kidney energy system as well. So
Okay.
on the face of it, it all looks random, but when you understand traditional Chinese medicine and how the
Right.
meridians and the pathways work, you can see actually there's a link here and we can pinpoint, we can use it as a diagnostic tool and see, okay, where's the deficiency? Where's the excesses in the body based on this organ energy system work? So that's what drew me to it initially.
So the kind of
And
interest and the
yeah,
anatomy, but from a Chinese perspective.
yeah. And I was
Yeah.
doing Tai Chi many, many moons ago. And what happened was I woke up one morning doing Tai Chi, right? And my eyes were blood red, like
Oh
absolutely blood
gosh.
red. I look like a vampire. And I I went to a traditional Chinese chemist because at the time people were just saying, "Oh, just use eye drops; it will go away,"
Mm-hmm.
and it didn't go away. So I went to a traditional Chinese medicine shop where we used to have quite a few in Nottingham. And the minute I walked in, he said to me, "You're generating too much liver yang." What are you talking about?
Yes,
What?
exactly.
He said, "You're generating too much liver yang. What are you doing?" Well, I'm not doing nothing. I don't know what you're talking about.
I
Like,
know
I'm
what
not
that
doing
is.
anything.
Yes.
So he was like, "Okay, take these. Come back in 2 weeks." I took the prescription that he gave me, came back in 2 weeks, and my eyes had gotten better. So then, when I'd gone to my Tai Chi class, and I said to the tutor at the time, I said, what were you doing? What kind of stuff were we doing for Tai Chi? And it turns out we was doing all yang styles. So the stuff that generates internal
Oh
heat.
my
We were
goodness.
practicing pretty late at night, so you're talking like 8, 9 o'clock at night. So this is where the body is already,
Imbalance.
cooling down into its night cycle. But we were doing we're doing like 3 or 4 different forms, and
Mm-hmm.
they were all yang forms.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, oh, so that's why I'm generating too much liver yang. And then he was like, I don't know what you're talking about. And I was like, oh, you should know.
Yes,
So
especially as a
that,
teacher, that's
so
quite
that's what made me more
disconcerting.
interested,
Mm-hmm.
to go and do some more research. And I'm glad I did. I'm glad I had that experience because it helped put me on the path. Yeah.
So you seem like quite an inquisitive, like curious mind anyway, and it just so happens that
Yeah.
that's like in the wellness space.
Yeah.
So it was from your own experiences of kind
Oh,
of
yeah, absolutely.
imbalance, I guess, which is a
Yeah.
lot of it. I think, that's what drew me to you, my own personal experiences of having a new health, a new vessel that I had to work with. And the one and only day that I was actually able to sync up with you in your retreat that you were running meant that I was able to come and just dip in. And since then, I've been very, very intrigued, but just unable to access until now. So we'll talk about that later, though, your
Yes.
accessibility
Yeah.
and the different ways people can join in. So you've kind of touched on it, but I just want to delve a little deeper into the importance of different types of practice. So, for instance, you were doing Tai Chi, and that was very yang heavy, which at the time you didn't know would be doing a positive thing for your body, but also creating an imbalance, right? So, I have an idea that maybe there's just arguably two schools of thought. I'm around a lot of physical people. I work in the acting industry, as you know. And I see a lot of different approaches to fitness, a lot of approaches to health. And there's no right or wrong. I'm not judging. I just wonder what your thoughts are on this.
I,
There's one camp.
I've done everything. I've
Okay,
I've literally done everything.
tried it.
Kickboxing,
I love kickboxing.
cycling, circuit training, everything. I've done it,
We
and I
do
loved it at the
circuit
time.
training. Hmm.
Yeah, I absolutely loved it at the time. But it's also to bear in mind that your body goes through different stages of life. So
Absolutely.
again, looking at the kidney energy system, because it's such a great system. When we're young, we're full of vitality, aren't we? We start off as little babies, and you see our strength starts growing. Then we get to our 20s, and we're invincible.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
So we
and
so
then
we feel.
yeah, and then the latter stages of life, you see that energy start to wane. We don't want to get out of bed. We haven't got the motivation to go to the gym, much less go for a walk. But when that energy is good, like if you've got your partner, your boyfriend or your girlfriend, you get that early morning wake up call because the energy is good. Yes, no one needs to ask for anything because the energy is
Yes,
good.
which is
But if
good.
your partner is having to tap you like 2 weeks down the road and say, you know what, babe, like, what's going on? Like nothing's happening. Then you know that the
Yes,
energy, you know
it's
what I mean?
off.
So that's what I'm saying. We're
Yeah,
talking about
yeah. Having
where
that
where
self-awareness
it
and
kind of it
self-knowledge as
shows
well.
up,
You start to notice it, but maybe don't realize it's all interconnected. That's the
and
thing.
that's the beauty of having just taking a bit of time. And I think with the gentler exercises, it gives you that bit of time to listen because the
Mm-hmm.
body is always trying to have a conversation with you.
Mm-hmm.
But like when you're young, like we say, you're invincible and you know everything. You can't kind of hear that conversation. It's not until you
Mm-hmm.
get older, when your knees are aching or your shoulders are aching, that you begin to hear the conversation where the body is saying, maybe do this, maybe do that. I need some more beetroot in my diet. Actually, I need some more ginger. Can I have some more turmeric because it will help with my knees?
It does
So all those
speak.
conversations are happening, but we just need a bit of time to slow down so we can
Kind of
attune
attune.
ourselves. Yes.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
Exactly that. So to the people then that maybe really die hard, boot camp, 10K every morning, craving those endorphins. Nothing wrong with this. Again, not a judgment. I was that person. Maybe not I wasn't a gym bunny. I was never really into going to the gym so much, only if I really had to, if physio told me I had to. But I would prefer to do activities, netball, etc. They feel like it's imperative maybe to work out at a certain level every day. To that school, to that camp, what would you say to kind of just spark a little interest to draw them into
Mm.
finding a balance on the other side?
So you said it in the beginning about longevity. So
Mm,
longevity, like you said, is about your lifespan.
yeah.
But you just don't want to live and just exist. You want
Yes.
to be able to live and be independent, have a quality of life, eat good food, get
Mm,
enough good sleep, and have adequate exercise. So there's going to be a certain point in time where the body can't do what it did 30 odd years ago. That's fine.
absolutely.
Does that mean we have
Hmm.
to stop exercising? No. So it's about the quality of exercises we do to extend that quality of life, not just existing, but
Hmm.
having a good quality of life when we're into our 70s and our 80s. We still want that mobility. And that's what a
Right.
lot of
That's a
people
key
lose,
word.
because you lose the mobility, then you just start seeing all the degeneration of the body.
Yes.
So we want that mobility. But I want you, I would say, and often I use this in my Sambisa massage, is when think of a candle.
Hmm.
So you know the candle, and you've got the big wax, and you've got the flame on top, yeah? So
Hmm.
you can always burn the flame until the candle wax runs out.
That's right.
So as long as the wax is there, you can always relight that candle. The minute you burn out that wax, you cannot relight that candle. So that
Right.
that
It's about a
candle,
gradual
if you like,
process.
that body of the candle is your yin energy. The flame is
Okay.
the yang. So we talk about yin
Um,
and yang. So the yin,
I'm very visual. That's fantastic.
yeah, so am I. So the yin supports the yang.
Hmm.
So without the yin, you can't have the yang. So unless you're doing that nurturing internal energetic work, you will just keep burning, 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 burning until there's
Absolutely.
no candle wax left.
That's brilliant. Thank you.
Yeah.
I love that visual. I think I will always think of that when I am trying to instill balance in my routine. That's really good. I have just devil's advocate though, because it's
Common.
me. What if you're, and I've been on this side as well because I've been searching, what if you're on the other side where actually you're not into group exercise? You're not into anything that makes you sweat unless you're at the sauna. Not necessarily due to illness, condition, or having something that's an affliction that might stop you from doing that, but just preference. Maybe you're really into your nidra yoga. Maybe you're really into mindful walks. Nothing wrong with these things. I've just did a mindful walk for 10 minutes because I was nervous about the live. Like, I still get nervous. So there's nothing wrong with that. Stretches, breath work, but you're not doing the other side, for instance. What would you say to that school of thought, that camp?
As long as you're loading your muscles, you're loading your bones, because that's where the immobility comes in. People
Hmm.
aren't walking, they aren't stretching. So the body is very fickle. The body pretty much says to you, look, use it or lose it. If I'm
Right.
sat down all day for 19 hours, then your legs are going to stop
Which a lot
working. Yeah?
others are,
Yeah. Yeah.
thankfully that's not my case right now, but during COVID it was remote working. A lot of things have become hybrid, working from home. So more and more people are in those scenarios, 12-hour, 10-hour days, sat down,
Yeah.
aren't they?
So
Mm,
what I advise some of my clients is get up and stretch. If you
right.
know that you're sat down for hours, put a little reminder on your phone every 20 minutes, every 30 minutes. Literally, all you need is 3 minutes just to be on your feet for
Oh,
3 minutes.
okay.
And there's a wonderful YouTube 3 minute workout that you can do. Takes you longer to boil a kettle.
It's true.
Okay?
It's true. You
Yeah.
could
So
you could
you
definitely
can
do
do
that
a
on
three
your,
minute
it doesn't even have
workout.
to be a work break, does it? That's
Yeah,
literally
no.
could
So
be
it doesn't,
built in.
and that's the thing that I find people think it has to be something. Oh, I have to spend an hour at the gym, or I have to go walking
No.
for 2 hours. No, just do little and often, and that's what gets the
Mm,
body through. As long as you're loading your muscles and your bones properly, so nice yoga poses, holding those poses, that will give you the necessary load of the muscle to energize that muscle and make sure that the bones don't get too supple either. So those types of things are
absolutely.
really good. Yeah,
Okay.
stretching
So
is
it's
good.
little and often rather than thinking you have to go at it. So for those that might be a little bit intimidated by something a bit more active or physical, that's a kind of a way in, isn't it?
Yeah,
Just kind of building
absolutely.
these little 1 and 2 minutes. So back to Qigong, where does this practice fit then on this proverbial spectrum we've just created? Us, we've got the boot campers are like, come on, Mr. Motivate, I'll show my age there, but you know, like, just they want to go hard. I don't mind. People know I'm not no spring chicken. It's fine. But like Mr. Motivator over here, like shouting at you, come on, go harder, insanity, all of those things. And then you've got, you know, the yoga nidra babes, the Lululemon babes, the ones that just want to go for a walk in their sports gear but not actually do sports. Where
Mhm.
does Qigong fit in this spectrum or under this umbrella of wellness or activity?
It fits with yoga. It fits with the insanity. It fits with the boot camp. It fits with
Mm,
the cycling because
I
you would
thought
do
so.
it first thing in the morning, or you would do it in the afternoon, or you do a little bit lasting at night. Remember, this is you cultivating, helping to cultivate that yin energy
Mm,
so you can
mm,
keep that flame burning.
right.
Yeah.
So
So
it's all
that's where you
encompassing.
would fit it in. So it's not, oh, like another thing I need to do. This is your essential to life to make sure that, like I said, you've got your inheritance, your
Mm-hmm.
energy inheritance. So when you reach into the pot, there's something still there, and you're not just
Right.
rolling around the bottom of the pot and it's all empty because
Depleted.
you've spent
Right.
all your energy. This is going to make sure that you can acquire more cash flow in your inheritance, meaning you can acquire more chi flow in your inheritance.
I
Yeah.
love it. Thank you. I've just had a few people join from, I think maybe your platform and from Daughters of May. So I just want to shout them out quickly before we move on. Thank you, Irene, for joining us. Thank you, Carol, for joining us. Thank you. Now, I need to get this right because my name's Riasha, so I need to get other people's unique names right. I want to say Tara and Terena. Correct me if I'm wrong. Hi, Terena. Sandhukuli. And yes, my mother, as I said earlier, and to the rest of you that are joining or about to join, hello to you. So, this is Daughters of May, an intergenerational safe space for Black women to exchange tools for mental health and well-being. Please follow, share, like, comment. Oh, I got her name right. She said that's right, or their name right. Thank you. And I'm joined here with Tazi. Tazi, I don't know if you're having issues on your side. I'm okay, but I think you might have just frozen a little bit. Let me know if you need to go away and come back. If not, we can continue shortly. But what I will do actually is I'm just going to. Oh, she's back. Yes,
Yeah. So
fantastic.
if you do your little bit now, let me go away and come back. So,
I've got.
okay.
You're going to rejoin.
Yes.
Okay, no problem. Let me just re-invite you here. So you guys, it is live, as you know. So sometimes we have a few little technical bumps. So we're just waiting for Tazi to leave and rejoin. So hi again. Hi. I love it when you wave. Thank you for all the love hearts. So we've got Tazi here of Chi Life Foundation and Sen Visa Massage. I'm going to invite her back up to May We Talk series, episode 14, season 3, with the main topic being healing. Today we're joined by Tazi and we're going to be looking at the practice of Qigong. We're going to be looking at self-knowledge and how these two components can add to our longevity. So I've just invited Tazi back up with us. So hopefully she'll be rejoining us as she was just having a little technical error. So let's see. Tazi, you've been invited, so hopefully you're able to rejoin there. Please do leave us some comments in the chat if possible. If you have any particular questions, as I was saying earlier, any advice or tools given by us in this episode do not replace the knowledge or the expertise of your own medical practitioner. However, if you do have any questions that are specific to Qigong, then obviously Tazi's got 20 years experience working as a holistic practitioner and practicing Qigong, and she may be able to answer those for you. So she's just trying to rejoin, and I think you might have to request to join, Tazi, because when I am inviting you, you're not appearing, unfortunately. So just request to join, and I promise I will accept. So for those of you in the chat and in the comments, please ask us a question. Don't be shy. One question that I think I would love to ask Tazi is the indigenous roots of Qigong and how she is able to make it accessible for people from all different walks of life. Because obviously, she's just touched on the fact that it's a Chinese, traditionally Chinese practice, I believe. Much like yoga, that has different roots as well, which I believe stem from various religious practices. Hi, Tazi.
Um,
So, how are you doing? Are you okay over there? All good?
I'm good. It's only because I had a timer on my Instagram app, so I'm not scrolling all night, and the timer was about to run out, so I had
Oh,
to
I
reset it.
see. Okay, no problem. Some people are saying there's some type of robotic voice, which is really unfortunate. So, I'm going to take out my headphones just in case that's creating any issues. It may just be a connection issue, but hopefully we'll be all right. Normally I use my headphones, but sometimes it's temperamental, it's live. So welcome back, Tazi, of Chi Life Foundation and Sembisa Massage. The question I was going to ask you, if you are already composed and you're all right to move on,
Mhm.
was we've kind of touched on the indigenous roots of Qigong. I would love to know how you personally have managed to build Chi Life Foundation from this indigenous practice and then make it accessible to all. And you've kind of already told us why you think it's so important for all of us, because we all have this energy system. But how have you managed to make your own unique version of this and make it accessible for us?
Yeah, because obviously I've been doing and practicing Qigong for over 25 years. And like I said, because I have done pretty much every exercise there was out there,
Mhm.
I could see that it was a lot of yang work, so meaning a lot of external work,
Right.
meaning therefore you were burning a lot of energy. Yeah?
Okay. Yes. So
Yeah.
with it burning a lot of energy, how, I guess the question is, people that may be interested but think, I am from X background, why religion, this race, that race, this age, why do you think something that is so traditional, maybe from the past even, works in a contemporary way? And how do you, because I know how you share it, because I've been to one of
Hmm.
your sessions and I was able to dip in straight away. But how do you think you've packaged it in a way that someone that is a complete beginner can access it?
It's universal. And when we
Right.
think about it, health is universal. And so when I was thinking about packaging it, I was thinking about, if you look at yoga, I know there's lots of people that do yoga, but when you look at the aesthetics of yoga
Hmm.
and where those yoga classes will take place, sometimes we have to ask ourselves, how inclusive is it? And I
Okay.
work with, the place Deep Yoga, who I work with, and they're
Yes.
excellent. But other places I've been to, I've had people comment, like, they go for a few sessions, they're not really into wearing the tight pants, the crop tops, and sometimes that in itself can be a barrier. I have another
Absolutely.
excellent yoga school, the yoga place, and they're just very natural. So you can see that you've got a very commercialized way of practicing this ancient
Yes.
art, and then you've got other people that are very traditional.
Yeah.
So with the Qigong, I wanted to make it extremely accessible, so you don't need any fancy clothes.
No.
You don't need any fancy trainers. You can literally come as you are. The only thing we ask is, you don't eat within 2 or 3 hours of practicing, because we're going to be doing deep breathing, exercising. Your stomach will feel too full and then it will just be really uncomfortable.
Right.
But other than that, you literally just come as you are. You don't need anything fancy to put on. And it's so flexible because you can just do it seated or standing. So I help people go through the different levels of their mobility. So I may start with someone and they can't stand up. It's fine. Just do it in your chair. Okay,
And I
we
did
just do the gentle
notice that
breathing.
actually.
Yeah,
I,
and
I
we do it
must
in the chest.
attest
Yeah,
that, you know, she doesn't just talk a good talk. This is all very real and accessible. I actually went just to share a little of my own personal journey towards
please. Yeah,
your session. I was completely depleted that week. I have a condition that fluctuates, and it means that my energy can be kind of, my normal is fatigue, but like also I was below that. And
mm-hmm.
I drug myself to come to this women's retreat. And it was literally a breath of fresh air. I left revitalized, which was really, but not in a way that made me zippy and bouncy, but in a way that kind of, imagine you just opened your eyes and you saw color again. Like it just felt like I was a bit fresher, a bit lighter. And there was no shame in how you decided to approach a movement. It was about doing it for yourself. You were in community with others, but some would, like you say, do it seated, some would do it on the chair, all different ages. And definitely a welcome surprise, actually, in a demographic that we live in, where often global majority people are minority. We were majority.
Yeah,
And it was a lovely
100%.
space, and you held a beautiful space. And I know that a lot of people had release and revitalization in that space after speaking with them. So credit to you. And I just want to let anyone know that's in the area, but again, we'll speak later about how accessible it is for people that are not in the Nottingham area, because I know that it can be for you. But yeah, anyone that's in the area that wants to experience the group version, please head over to Tazi's page, which is Chi Life Foundation, because I can personally attest that it is a wonderful session.
Yeah, and we
So
don't start
yes,
off by doing the Qigong straight away. So we'll start by settling your energy, settling your Qi. So we'll begin with some breath work, because the body can't survive more than 3 minutes without breath. So that tells us this is the
oh,
most
okay,
essential part of our life.
yeah,
Yeah. So we start by settling the energy. There's a few breathing techniques that we can do. And
right.
for us in traditional Chinese medicine, breath is food. You know,
That
it's
is
the food,
good.
it's where your muscles and your ligaments and your tendons draw its nutrients from. So when we breathe in, the oxygen goes into the blood, you know,
Mhm.
it nourishes us. And when we breathe out, then it comes from the blood into the lungs, and then, you know, we expire that carbon dioxide.
Yes,
So looking at that symbiosis of, like, plants need carbon dioxide, don't they? We
yes,
need the oxygen
and
that the
sunlight,
plants give us. So we can
right.
see that symbiotic relationship. And
And
this
the
is how we nourish
interconnectivity,
this, that's right, the
right.
interconnectedness. And this is how we nourish that energy system. And we focus
Mm,
on the breath first. There's there's two breathing techniques, and one I might share with you later. But
absolutely.
if, yeah, if people are in a state of, you know, acute physiological shock, you know, they've lost it, they're hopping mad, they're seeing the red mist, you know, and this is, you hear people say, oh, I just lost it. Well, what did they lose? They lost their peace. That's what
Mm,
they're talking about. They're talking about having lost their peace. So you can see that they're already destabilized. And
mm-hmm.
when people have lost their peace, what do you see? What happens to their breathing?
Shallow. And
Shallow
we also
breathing, chest
exist
breathing,
in a
coughing
space
and
that's
puffing.
like that sometimes.
Say
Just to
again?
add to what you just to add to, please don't lose that thought, but just to add to that, especially as I'm in London currently, a lot of us are walking around just like this, because the going on the underground and then changing train just means that you're like this. Going through crowds of people, tourists, whoever, means that you're like this. You know, the pace of it all, it means that your actual default is already like that before something's annoyed you, before you've lost it. But
Exactly.
please continue.
So instead of your lung capacity being like this, it's
Yes.
just this. So so you're not using the intercostal muscles, you're not expanding the diaphragm properly, you're not expanding your back muscles, you know,
Make you want to
your
sit up.
rhomboids and your traps, everybody's
Yeah.
all hunched over. So you're literally compressing the amount of oxygen that you can actually get into your lungs. Now, when we know that oxygen, the body can't survive 3 minutes without it,
Right.
what are we doing? So, therefore, that oxygen isn't going into the blood. Therefore, the muscles, the tendons, the ligaments can't take the nourishment from the blood
Right.
because it's not properly oxygenated. So, this is where you can see these degenerative illnesses still keep happening. We
Yes.
can see that people are being treated with medication, but we're not actually curing illnesses. You see that?
No, it's not it's not preventing anything. It's just keeping you kind of
Yeah,
stagnant,
yeah,
which is not life. That's just existing, isn't it?
yeah. So with the
That's really, really
survivor breathing
important.
technique, when people are in that state of acute, madness, they've lost it, they're hopping mad, they're angry, you just do this breathing technique and it will cut right through it within 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So all you need to do is just take a deep breath in, then a short, sharp breath into the lungs to fill those lungs, and then just open your mouth and breathe out silently. So
Mm-hmm.
breathing in, another sharp, sharp breath, open your mouth, long exhale out, but nice and silent. Again, breathe in, sharp breath into the lungs, open your mouth, and breathe out silently. Let it be a long exhale. Okay.
Thank
And
you for that.
after about 5 minutes, it will literally take that energy down. So you can do this with people having panic attacks. You can do this with children. You can do it in your car when the road rage is coming upon you.
That is
Okay.
definitely
You can
one
do
that
it
I
on
know
the
people
tube when
will
someone's
relate
got their
to.
armpit in your face. Do you know what I mean? You can.
I purposely leave out earlier just so I can avoid the armpit, I will say. I cannot. I cannot. But thank you for sharing that. That really just exemplifies how easy, for want of a better word, it is to kind of just incorporate into our day to day these Qigong
And the
principles.
beauty of that breathing is no one needs to know you're doing it.
Right.
It's not like you're exhaling going,
Yeah, and because I have seen some that are kind of like this, and that's a
yeah,
different, that's in a
that's a
different practice.
different
That's a
style
different
breathing.
camp. Yeah,
This
exactly. And
one's
it's not to
very
say it doesn't
quiet.
work.
Yeah, great. What you have the different patterns for different things. Yeah,
Yes.
and that's
And this
what.
one is very accessible, like you say, if you're out and about or if you're in the midst of people that you can use, and as you say, no one will know. It's not as overt. It's something that you can do within and
Yes,
measure your own energy.
yeah.
So I love that. And we'll be doing we've got time, so please stay with us. Make sure you're in your comfies, and if you're not in your comfies, that's fine, because as you've seen, it's accessible. So that you can join in with a bit more of the Qigong practice when Tazi leads us through some exercises later. I'd love to move on to self-knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
if you'd come with me. When it comes to self-knowledge, to what extent is it important to have an awareness of your physicality at each stage of life, or to be specific to our community here at Daughters of May, each stage of your womanhood? Everyone's will look different, obviously, but from where you stand, why is that important?
I think it's important to understand that life is on a cycle.
Mm.
We're essentially spiritual beings. Okay, so we're we're in the earth, but we're not part of it. So we know this from when people tell you, you get pregnant, person's pregnant for 9 months, that child is then born, and then when we pass away, we go back into the spiritual realm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So our time here is always finite, is always limited, but we're always wanting to have that connection with the source as we go through life, so that we're guided. Now, most people will come into their sense of self or their spirituality or their divine knowledge once they, get past 20, 25, 30, 40, even in some cases. And this is why it's a cycle. You can see that we evolve. If you're looking at the 7-year cycle, 0 to 7, 7 to 14, 14 to
Mm-hmm.
21, 21 to 28. These are key spiritual stages and social stages of life as we
Yeah,
educate
they're
and grow older.
definitely they're developmental markers, aren't they? Are they also in line with the Chinese traditions?
Yes,
Those
as well. You will
patterns.
find that most ancient traditions will have this type of
Right.
understanding. So you're looking at traditional Chinese, you're looking at Kemetic, which is ancient
Right.
Egyptian, even sometimes Druids, things like that. They will have those kind of ancient
And
practices and traditions to
seven
have
being
this
quite a key
understanding.
number in a lot of those
Yes,
faiths or traditions as well, isn't
yes,
it? from what I remember.
Yeah, 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 absolutely. So and then just focusing primarily on women for a second, if you look at us as women, we have three bodies in our life. Yeah,
That's a good way to look at it.
we
Yes.
have three bodies. So we're little children, and then we go through puberty. That's number one body. Then, if we happen to become pregnant and give birth, that's body number two. Okay. And then body number three is when we're going through the menopause. Yeah.
Yes.
So we will need certain nutrients, different types of exercises, different sleep regimes to nourish those bodies at different points in time.
Absolutely.
The most depleting of those would probably be being pregnant and giving birth, because you have this little thing inside of you that is literally taking everything for itself. Everything. And it doesn't care. Like, all your teeth could fall out, and it's this little thing is still taking.
I've witnessed it.
Yeah.
I've witnessed it. My beautiful friends
Yeah.
who are
Yeah.
mothers,
But everybody goes, oh, what
they're
a
doing
cute
God's work.
Yeah. But now you've only got one eye left, one strand of hair, one breast is bigger than the other.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. So that has to be the most depleting stage of a woman's life, and therefore she would need lots and lots of nourishment. But what do we do in Western culture? We say, after 3 months, go back to work, you'll be fine.
Absolutely, they do.
Yeah.
And there's pressure to do it, and
six
there's
months to re-nourish.
economic pressure. Yeah.
Like
Did you
say,
say 6 months?
to properly re-nourish, you spent 9 months with someone draining your blood,
Yes,
or your
literally.
fluid, eating everything that you eat.
Yes.
You spent 9 months with someone literally just using all of your fuel, of your energy, and weakening your bones and making your brain a little bit softer than it was before. So
Yes.
yes, it would take a minimum of like 6 months for you to properly re-nourish, and that's why we don't do it here. But I know sometimes in Chinese hospitals, they have literally hospitals or service centres where a woman can go to after she's had the baby and just rest.
I was
Rest
just going
without.
to say there are some societies, I
Yeah.
don't know, I don't want to misquote, I don't know if it's New Zealand or Australia, there's somewhere that I read of that maternity leave is a lot more extensive than what we get in the UK. So if you're from one of those countries and you're watching us right now, or you're watching us in retrospect, please leave a comment, because I can't remember where it is. But we are behind. The UK are behind. And if we are not behind, then we are just blatantly underserving women, as women who are having children, and then, as you say, not being able to access that rest to rejuvenate themselves.
Yes.
Someone in the comments, Tarena, has just said, and let's not forget how much energy and nutrition breastfeeding takes up. Absolutely. I can't speak to it myself, but again, I'm aware of the different the taxing nutritional kind of depletion of breastfeeding. And I think, it takes quite a lot of your fat as well as your energy. So it's about rebuilding that. I'm not an expert in that area. We will potentially be having someone that is qualified to speak on hormones and perimenopause soon, actually. But would you say Qigong speaks to that?
It's about giving women's body the respect it deserves.
Yes.
You are essentially 100% the sole provider for this little being for the first few. It relies on your body to provide for its body. And it's about giving women that respect. You are literally bringing in life, nurturing life, sustaining life. So when we're looking at Qigong, especially the work that I did with the sister circle, the Black Women's Circle, that's what it was about. And it's trying to get away from this strong Black woman.
Talk about it. I literally just wrote my final assignment as I said earlier, I'm a lifelong learner. I've just finished my degree with Open Uni. I accessed about 3 different papers talking about the strong black woman trope, and how the strong Black woman trope is actually having the reverse effect on us psychologically, and how it stems from all these different ideas of the Black woman being, bred or a breeder, and being able to endure massive amounts of pain, labor, and it comes from, obviously enslavement, colonization, and these myths about us. We can be strong, We can be resilient, but we need rest. We need ease. We need softness, just like everybody
Yeah.
else. So I think it's really important that even when we as Black women build each other up and, you know, say I'm independent, I'm strong, I did X, Y, and Z by myself, these things are probably true, but not to ground our whole entire being in those things, so that when we do need rest, we feel guilty, or
Listen,
we feel like we're failing.
if I wanted to, I could paint my whole house, wash my car, cut the hedge, mow the lawn. I could do all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Don't want to. I will do it
Absolutely.
if I have to,
Yeah.
but I don't have to battle with myself. I must do it because I'm independent, strong Black woman.
No,
No, I don't have to do it.
no,
Do you know what I
no.
mean?
Yeah.
And it's about taking the value of, like, you nurturing your health is you showing strength, that you
Yes.
respect your life and you appreciate your life and you appreciate your health. You sometimes say, no, you're not do that. I'm just going to sit and relax.
Yes.
Is you respecting yourself? Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
And we shouldn't shy away from that. You know what? I'm just going to take a little walk down the high street, buy myself a hot chocolate or a nice macchiato, and
Mm-hmm.
walk back. Probably do a little bit of sewing that I like, a bit of dancing. I like to dance. Maybe do something creative. Pull out those paints or that, you know, that gianting, you know, make some batik material, whatever that thing is. Like,
Yes.
you
Yes.
enjoy that, because when you do those things, and I think you mentioned earlier, the endorphins, that's what gets released, you know, the dopamine, the serotonin, all those nice things. When you give somebody a hug, you make a little small achievement about something that you hadn't done before,
Yeah.
those things make you feel good, and it's those things that extend your life, and also, most importantly, reduce the stress, right?
Yes.
The endorphins, the serotonin, the dopamine, these things reduce stress, right?
Absolutely.
And this is why we need more of it. So even little
Yes.
things like just waking up in the morning, appreciating the fact that you can just wake up and go,
The breath, the life, the food. Yes.
I, I woke up and was able to do that. You actually woke up in a bed. You
I'm
could look out your
here.
window. You've got food on your table. You've got
Absolutely.
social media.
Yes.
You're
Which we
online
have to
now.
be. I will say another thing that I learned recently, you know, especially as it pertains to our platforms, you know, as Black women, making sure that there's that balance, that as we build each other up, you know, with the Black excellence, the Black girl magic, the different resources that this platform offers, and I'm sure yours does, that we also remember the key time that we spend away from social media.
Mm.
Because, you know, comparison can be the thief of joy, and even when we're trying to do something positive, if we lean too much into that and rely on that, we miss the moments, like you say, where it's just the little things that are actually the most things that we could be more thankful for. That we miss the gratitude in the morning. We miss, I
Mm-hmm.
just took a breath literally when I took a walk. I use an app called Balance. I don't want to go on
Mm-hmm.
a tangent, but just to say, before we came on the live, I went for a walk, and it's talking you through as you walk and making you have an internal and external awareness. And I thought, I never noticed that the tree at the bottom of the road had red leaves, ever. And I also never noticed how enormous this other tree in the park was, ever. I go to this park at least 3 times a week for a walk. Never noticed those things. So it's just about, kind of like you say, taking a step away so that you can make and create those moments of rest.
And
Someone's just,
you see what happens. Oh, sorry. Read the comments.
thank you. I was just going to say, everyone's been really engaging, so thank you. Terena George said, rest and self-care is so important. We were talking about it at my church women's event this weekend. Comparison can be the thief of joy. Yes, absolutely. So we just have to find that balance with how we use even platforms like Daughters of May, how we use social media.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Tazi, please.
Yeah. So when you have that gratitude, what you're doing then is infusing joy into your daily life. You become joyful for the little things, and
Yes.
it's those little things that help build a stronger foundation of happiness within you,
Mm,
because then, you know, your happiness or your joy can't be held captive or therefore taken away from you, you know, when you lose your car or when you lose your money or things of that nature, because you now appreciate the little things. That is
yes.
what your joy and happiness becomes based upon, and not the things that can be snatched away from you.
that you can't
So then that
control.
gives you the spiritual stability to be peaceful in the midst of those challenging situations, for you then to start to begin to cultivate that unshatterable
Which
peace.
is what you were
And that's what we're
talking
trying
about
to do with,
before.
yeah, and that's what we're trying to do with the Senbisa Qigong, is to cultivate that inner stability, you know, kind of moving adjacent to the strong black woman, but
Yeah.
then you have that greater clarity of what you need to do to achieve in your life, what you need to let go of, and what is actually sustaining you.
Yes.
Yeah.
So just giving you again that self-knowledge, that
Mhm.
attunement that both of us strangely said at the same time earlier on, which is key, I would imagine, for cultivating that self-knowledge. I would love to just ask one more question on longevity,
Yeah.
and then sorry, on self-knowledge, and then move on to longevity, if
Okay.
that's okay. And I would love to make that short, just so that we can make sure we get time with Tazi. As I was saying earlier, she's already given us one very usable and accessible example of breath work. Excuse me. And I'm just going to take a sip of my drink.
No problem.
Tazi is kindly going to also give us another example at the end of this live. So make sure you stick with us, because you don't want to miss it. It's going to be golden. It is a gem. Just getting Tazi on here is just, it's fantastic. So to also have the example that she's going to share with us, I'm sure it will be really useful for you. So please stick around for that. The final question I'm going to ask on self-knowledge is, we've talked about the benchmarks and the kind of markers as we move through womanhood. But obviously, everyone's body is different, and between non-disabled people and people with visible and hidden disabilities, there may be a hesitancy to different types of exercise they're not familiar with, and also not necessarily having the knowledge of what suits them, because if you haven't done something, how will you know? But then you've got the hesitancy, which is creating a barrier. So how would you say, you've already kind of touched on, you can do it on a seat, on a chair, you can do it on the floor. This is Qigong. Are there any other ways that, if someone was hesitant because of their condition or their different physical abilities, that you would encourage them to do Qigong or give it a try?
I would always start with the breathing,
Right.
because people breathe anyway.
Yeah.
So then the key thing is always about getting people to breathe properly.
Yes.
And that in itself is a form of exercise. You have something in the body called the vagus nerve, which is the longest cranial nerve in the body. So it's from your head all the way down to your lower
Yes.
abdomen. Now, the vagus nerve touches on your respiratory system. So we're talking your lungs, your back muscles. It touches on the digestive system. So we're talking your esophagus, your stomach, your throat. It touches on your heart as well.
Literally
And then the
everything,
blood
isn't it?
vessels that support the heart, so that cardiovascular system. So when you are breathing deeply and with purpose, then you're literally stimulating all these different parts of your body, just because of the vagus nerve, which comes from here all the way down to your lower abdomen. So
Right.
when
So
we're
it's
doing that deep diaphragm, that deep abdominal breathing, we are stimulating the vagus
right.
nerve. So then it's going to have a holistic effect on your overall health and well-being. And that's what we touch on when we do the Zazen breathing, which that's what I'm going to show you guys at the end. So
Amazing.
it's really wonderful. And remember, because breath is life, so once the breath becomes stronger, it's going to help burn up those internal pathogens, where people haven't been breathing properly because they've all been
Yeah,
caved in and
straight up.
compressed,
Yeah.
and they're here, and now the chi is flowing beautifully. So it will help burn up some of those internal pathogens as well. And then people will feel stronger and then move on to the next step, which is where they can, begin doing some of those Qigong exercises. But I would always
Yes.
start with the breath. So do more of the breath first, maybe one or two of the Qigong exercises. As I see their health improve, then it may become 50-50. Yeah. And then they can just
Yes.
introduce that into their whole program.
I'm smiling because I'm trying to remember when I came. I think it was February I came to
Mm.
your retreat, your day retreat.
Hmm.
Time was not an entity, so I don't even remember
It
how long it
wasn't.
was. It just happened.
Yeah.
And I didn't actually get to tell you this, because come April, May, I was just in university mode. I didn't speak to anybody, but it really helped me so much on a day-to-day, Tazi. I was able, usually I have to turn, anytime I don't do, for anyone that's just joined us, I'm an actress. I'm currently working in a show. We have to do physical activity and warm-ups before we start the show, usually high impact. At the moment, I've got a kind of adjustment, which means that I do something else at the side if I can't do the high impact. And normally I put on YouTube. But when I left Tazi's retreat, I was having a really difficult time with my energy levels, and I remembered the different moves off the top of my head, which never happens. I always have to refer back to something. I'm really bad like that. But I could remember them. They were, because they're so internalized and they're repetitive, I did them for about 2 weeks in my warm-up, and it got me through a very low period of energy, of what we call like a flare-up if you have different chronic conditions. And it kind of got me back to where I needed to be. So I can, it's only an anecdotal kind of report, but I would say that for me personally, it made a massive difference, and it is extremely accessible because you don't have to have a massive knowledge in it. Like when you're doing yoga and they might shout out different poses, downward dog, this and that, chaturanga. It's great, don't get me wrong. I actually really like yoga, but sometimes I can't access it because of my different health needs. And I was really able to do that with Qigong. So much so that I've signed up. I mistakenly signed up and got a certificate, but I haven't completed the course. So I made an error. So if you see that I've downloaded a certificate on your website, Tazi, that's a lie. I haven't completed the course. It's just, I was trying to register last week for the taster, which you're going to talk to us about in a little while. And yeah, I gave myself a certificate, but it's a good boost because now I've got the certificate. I went backwards. I was doing it on my phone, and yeah, but I will say that Tazi's going to let us know shortly just about how you can access all of the different courses and packages she has for Qigong, and it is really accessible. As someone that's tried and tested, I think it's brilliant. I'm just looking down because I do set a timer. And I like to make sure that we're within an hour, which we are, which is great, because time is valuable. And like we've just been talking about self-knowledge and rest, I want to make sure that we both have a manageable conversation and we have time in our evening. So I'm going to move us on to longevity, and then hopefully you'll give us an example.
Yes.
Just before I do that, welcome Ebony. Ebony is she's probably going to hate me for this, but she's a brilliant mind, publisher of Black and I think global majority as well, but predominantly Black children's books and authors. So thank you for joining us. She's also been on the May We Talk series previously, so thank you. And as you'll see in the comments, and we'll also be pinning some information from the Chi Life Foundation from Tazi. Tazi's left some really important information about the practices and the ability to reconnect to your body through the practice of Qigong. So that will all be in the post and the captions when you watch this back. So we're going to move on to our last segment, which is, let me make sure I'm right. Yep, longevity. I'm looking down because I have everything written and highlighted. I am neurodiverse. So longevity as it relates to as aging. We're an aging generation, as I was saying in the introduction, which is good, but also taxing, potentially. Some might say, there's potential barriers in the way that we have this kind of fast-paced, technologically advanced global world. It requires so much of us. And as we were saying earlier about the breath can sometimes live up here because of our environment. You've kind of already answered this. I was going to ask you, can you practice individually? You said, you can do that in your own time. I would like to ask you a little bit more in depth, what are the benefits of practicing in a community, practicing Qigong?
That's good. That's a really good question, and it's a really important question. Yes, you can practice individually. It's fine. It's not a problem. But what I found in my years of practicing Qigong, when you do it with other people, you create, I want to say like a swell of energy. And so therefore you get more out of it than what you put in. I guess the best way to describe it is like a partner.
For those that are Caribbean, those who know, those who don't, think of a community scheme to pool your resources together, for redistribution where there is a lack of in the wider community or environment. Hopefully that's kind of the same, but if you're Caribbean, you know what a partner
Yeah,
is.
yeah. I think other people call it a susu or
Yes,
something.
yes.
Yeah, I've heard
I've
that.
heard that. It's something beginning with S, yes. If you're from
Yeah,
a different island that's not Jamaica, let us know what it is. I think you're right.
yeah. So like you said, even though you could, come to a group session and you may feel really fatigued, just literally by being in that space with other people having the same intention. And it's not about you having to make a public declaration
Mm-hmm.
about what your intention is. I will guide you, obviously, but you will keep that intention within. But just by virtue of the fact that everybody is focused on this intention and that energy is directed to their well-being or to the well-being of somebody that they love, you genuinely feel this swell of energy that
Yes.
you're a part of and that you can draw on for your own well-being as well. And it's phenomenal. I know you said earlier, Riashi, you had some anecdotal evidence, but I would say you had some experiential
Yes.
evidence. You
Yes.
experienced
I
that.
definitely, as
So
you
that's
were
your,
speaking, I just thought it is a swell, and that is what makes the time stop.
yeah,
Because often people, when they're having enjoyment, time stops, but it wasn't like that. It wasn't because like, oh, we're doing something like fast paced and, I just couldn't keep up with where we were in time. It was more time stopped because
yeah,
there was a
it was
swell.
timeless. It was
Yes.
timeless. Yeah, yeah,
And that goes back to kind of working against the desire to be running at a fast pace all the time with our current environment.
yeah,
So it's really important. So, yeah, I definitely think you answered that nail on the head. I definitely think I experienced that with the in person, and I look forward to kind of seeing how it works doing it individually. As I said, I did a little bit of it at work, but again, I was still with people. So when I find myself feeling like I'm getting reactive or tightening up, I may well practice the exercises you're going to give us later or the breath work that you showed us.
yeah.
And
It's interesting because I've been doing some sessions online as well, and although not as
yeah,
intense as when in person, people still feel that same sharing of energy, that swell of energy, even when we're online. So that's been really interesting as well. But I think it comes down to the intention. You're directing your spirit, you're giving instruction, to that energetic part of you.
mm,
And energy will attach itself to
yeah,
energy, especially if it's all of the same intention. You see that?
yes.
So yeah, that's good as well.
I would like to thank you for your time with Daughters of May. We're not completely finished as yet, but we're coming to a close. But thank you for joining us, Tazi. We've also got some more new people in the chat. Thank you. Daniel, lovely to see you representing for the others in the creative space and also representing for the men. Thank you, Daniel, for joining us. This is an inclusive practice. We've just been talking about Qigong, so it spans and encompasses all genders, all abilities, all backgrounds. Indigenous practice from Chinese background, but has gone with Tazi approaching it from an inclusive perspective. So I hope that you're able to connect with Tazi on Chi Life Foundation, and we'll definitely put all of her details in the caption when we post, and direct you straight to her page for more. The last question I'm going to ask before we get ready to have a little bit of participation, so please stay with
Mhm.
us for that. Let me just see. I would like to ask, this is a good final question, if I say so myself. I have no problem with self-complimenting, as you can tell.
Well done, dear. Well done.
How does Qigong evolve with us? We've already spoken about longevity, self-awareness, self-knowledge, and that some exercises, are better for this period of life. This energy that we're have as children in our formative years, for instance, the energy or the depletion, lack of energy we might have if we are ever parents or go through pregnancy or raising somebody, hormonally the changes we might feel. Muscularity changes, I know that as we approach our 40s and go further, it can do, not always, but they talk about weight training being important because we lose, in general, we lose muscle mass, and so it's important to pay attention to that. How can Qigong evolve with us as a lifelong practice?
Yeah, so some people use Qigong as a standalone, but like I said, Qigong can accompany your yoga, your fitness, your running, do you know what I mean, your trampolining, whatever else it is you do.
I love
Yeah,
trampoline.
Qigong.
I haven't done it in years, but I do actually like it. I'm not
But
good at it, but I like
that's
it.
really good to build muscle tone and especially balance. Because if you see what happens when people get older, they lose their
Yes, and
balance.
you see the
Yeah.
falling over and the hip injuries and things like that. Yeah.
And that is because a lot of people have been advised to use momentum when they're getting up. So by that I mean the lean forward, put your hands up and then hike yourself up. But what that does then, it stops your quads and your glutes and your hamstrings from working because you're not pushing up.
Yes.
You're leaning forward. So then if your legs go from underneath you, where's your momentum? It's already pushing forward.
Yeah.
So that's why your legs aren't stable enough. You're going to fall over.
Yes.
So one of the exercises I do in my therapy is I get people to come to the edge of the seat, make sure that your legs are just a bit more than shoulder width apart, and you're wanting to push up using your thighs and from the hips. So you're going up.
I wonder if I've
You're
got
not
space to do
going.
this.
You're not doing this.
Let me see if I can do this where I'm sat. Let me
Come
see.
to the
Okay,
edge
it's
of
a
the
challenge.
seat, feet more than shoulder width apart.
Yes.
You see the difference? You see the difference? As opposed to
I
just
do.
lunging forward and
Everything
then
fired up because I didn't want to embarrass myself. It was pride. It was pride. I'm not going to lie.
listen, to
But
try the fantastic technique, no embarrassment here.
but do you know what it is? The camera would have fallen over. But I definitely feel the difference because I even hear, sometimes I hear a little groan from myself and I'm like, Riasha, like when you sit down and stand up, you're like,
Yeah.
So it speaks to that mobility and keeping that slow burn that you spoke of the candle analogy, just functioning in the way that we're built to function. If you are a non-disabled person and if you do have any hidden or visible disabilities, that you function in the capacity that your framework allows.
Yeah.
Thank you for answering that question. That was the final question, Tazi.
Thank you.
We thank you so much for being with us at Daughters of May today. It has been so informative to the point where I think I might have to listen back intently, because speaking and asking questions means that I'm actively listening, but also, looking down, thinking of what's next and trying to guide the conversation. But I've learned so much in doing so. And I'm hoping that, and I'm sure we've got love hearts coming. I don't know if you can see them from the community that have joined. Good. You're a brilliant guest. In closing, would you be happy to share with us one more exercise or example of Qigong for us to do with you today?
Yes, we can do. So I've given you the breathing exercise that you can do, in a state of emergency. But let me take you through the heart healing sound. And this is really good, especially if people are prone to things like depression or sadness or, just the lack of motivation. And also for people that are really loquacious, so people that talk a lot, that talk incessantly, and you're just like, shh. Right, this is really good for people that have an excess of heart energy as well, and also for people that have a deficiency of heart energy. Doing the healing sound will just bring everything into balance.
Before you start, Tati,
you can do this seated.
Yes, I know we can do it seated. I just want to invite the community to just take a moment to consider for yourself. You can join Tazi in this demonstration, obviously, of Qigong. And you know your own vessel, you know your own body. We are offering and sharing resources from a place of education and entertainment. Please, if you already know that your body or your situation may need to inquire further with Tazi, or maybe speak to your medical practitioner, do so. But and if not, as you've heard, it's a very accessible practice. So please join us, and back over to you, Tazi.
So come to the edge of your chair again. Feet are shoulder width apart. I'm just going to roll out our shoulders. So up to your ears, squeeze your shoulder blades and then gently down. You've probably been sitting or commuting and, the back is kind of seized up a little bit. So back the other way. And we're stretching without straining. So you're not wanting to force your body into any unnatural positions here. I think sometimes with other exercises, it's about looking good and being the best and that competitive edge. We don't get into any of that here. It's just doing what your body can do within your own body range of movement. Press your palms together. Again, we're still loosening up the back. So we're just turning from the waist, keeping the hips forward, just turning from the waist, just going to the right. Again, not forcing yourself, not pushing it, just going as far as the body can go. Because with the gentle repetition, with each turn you make, you will gently go further when the body is ready. Remember, it's all about having that conversation, that healthy conversation with your body. And then still with your palms pressed, you want to get your lower rib to the top of your hip. Now it may not get there, but that's what you're aiming for. So lateral tilt to the right, lower rib to the top of your hip, and then back up. And it's literally you're going to the side, you're not twisting. So lower rib to the top of your hip. Nice and gentle. Do not force it. Just go as far as you can go. That's it. And your breath is nice and easy. Breathing in and out through the nose into the lower abdomen at all times. And then just let your palms float down and rest on your lap. Then we're just going to do our head turn. So just gentle quarter turn to the right, back to center, and then to the left. Back to center, and to the right. Back to center, to the left. Back to center. Lovely. So the purification sound for the heart Qigong is Ha, as in H-A-A-A. Ha. That's the sound. I'm going to show you the hand movement first, and then you can join me on the second round. So as if I'm holding a giant beach ball in front of me. So my arms are away from the body. My elbows are below my wrists. So I don't want my elbows cocked up like that. My elbows are down below my wrist. My fingers are loose. I'm not gripping, nor are they extremely wide, but just nice and loose in front. Relax your wrists. Take a nice deep breath into the abdomen through your nose. And the hands extend outward. So your hands are horizontal to the floor. We breathe in, coming back to the same position. Breathing in, filling that lower abdomen. Breathing in quietly through the nose into the lower abdomen. Breathing in, relax your shoulders. Filling the abdomen once again, breathing in softly and quietly. Breathing in. Two more. Let your hands float down, just so your palms are resting gently on your lap. Still breathing from the lower abdomen. You want your feet to feel as if they're taking root into the earth. As you continue to breathe in and out gently through the nose into the lower abdomen. Your feet are winding down into the soft, warm, humus soil. And as the feet wind down into the earth, you feel your body extend into the heavens. You feel the extension from your midriff, extending high into the sky, with your elbows resting on the clouds. And you can see clear blue sky for miles and miles around. You are the balance between heaven and earth. As your feet continue to wind down into the earth, I want you to bring down heaven. So essentially we're just circling our arms, taking from the earth. The hands float upwards above your head. The palms face the body as you bring the energy down, settle the energy, and just do that 2 more times. Bring down heaven, taking from the earth, taking from the heavens, and washing yourself down in a nice chi bath. Thank you, and I hope you feel nice and relaxed this evening.
Tazi, gratitude in abundance. Thank you so much. Honestly, just inviting you has been the best way to open season 3. Obviously, we're talking about healing. Just being in your presence has been healing. The generosity I have to speak to, and I will be transparent to the community. Tazi offered. I didn't even have to ask. Sometimes I'm a bit hesitant because I know that obviously this is attached to people's livelihoods, it's their business. They're sharing their knowledge, their practice and resources with us on this platform out of, you know, the goodness of their heart. Tazi offered to do this, and it has made a massive difference to my state of well-being in this moment, and I'm sure those of you that participated. Larissa's just said thank you for joining us, Larissa. I'm so glad you were able to take part in that with us. Thank you, We Phoenix Thrive, for joining us, and everybody else in the live and in the comments. If people want to get some more of that, including me, but I've already signed up, aside from going to the caption, which we're going to tag your details to, can you just give us as much as you're comfortable with, an overview of what Chi Life Foundation offer, and the different accessibility levels, if you want to discuss that
Yeah,
before you leave?
sure. So we try and make Chi Life Foundation really accessible. So we have a free offering which takes you through 4 of the organ energy systems, and that's something you can just that's on YouTube and that's on the Chi Life Foundation. You can do that every day, and if that's where you want to start, for me that would be the perfect place to start. Then we have our bespoke kidney energy system, Qigong, where we're literally just focused on building the energy of the kidneys. I was recently doing a program where we did a 21-day challenge to boost our kidney energy
When I
system.
was finishing
And some of the
my degree,
feedback,
so I didn't do
some of the
it.
feedback was phenomenal. Yeah, because people started with things like having problems in their legs, not being able to walk up the stairs, or there was some sort of sciatica pain or ringing in the ears. So we said, okay, 21 days, yeah, kidney energy system, and it worked for the majority of people. For some people, it was really subtle. The differences that they saw, like you say, being able to get up, have more energy during the day, go to bed at a
I
decent
mean, that's
hour.
not
You know, other
subtle,
people
that's
like,
major for me. It was revolutionary, actually.
yeah, so that's the kidney one. And then we have the 6 healing sounds ritual. So this is a 10-week course where we literally take you through everything. So there's 3 primary sections. You've got the warm up, then we have the breathing. So we take you through the breathing in great detail.
Okay.
And then we go through each of the 6 healing sounds. So the 6 healing sounds will positively affect the energy flowing through your heart energy system, liver energy system, spleen, lungs, kidney, and triple warmer.
Okay.
So these are your vacuous cavities that you hear that generate heat. And you see it a lot with women in menopause. The heat rises, and that's why they get hot. And that's because the chi, the energy, isn't descending like it
Right.
should do. And that's all to do with things drying out inside. So we give you that exercise as well.
And the
And so
heart
then
that we did, sorry to interject there, was that
that
part
was
of
the heart.
that kind of, that was the heart. So that's part of those similar sound package that
Yeah,
people can explore with you. Okay.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all on there, and that's actually in the free offer as well. So you will find that the
Brilliant.
heart is in there, the spleen is in there, the liver is in there as well, and the
And you
lungs.
get a
Yeah,
certificate, but don't download it first like I did.
but do the practice first. Get the
Do the
certificate.
practice first. It was a mistake, y'all. It was a mistake. But honestly,
Okay.
Tazi, I could talk to you all day. I won't, because we've already talked about the importance of rest. You're an
Mm-hmm.
absolute master at this. It's very evident, and very humble too. So I'm sure that's part of potentially the practice and the tradition of teaching
Mm-hmm.
this practice and ritual. But thank you for taking us through Qigong, informing us more on the benefits and the health and well-being benefits of that, and for giving us your details. On that
Okay.
note, I'd like to say thank you to everybody. Even we just had Sarah come in on the chat. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for everyone that I've shouted out earlier. Feel free to have another look at this conversation with Tazi of the Chi Life Foundation and Zambisa Massage. It will be on season 3, and taking front and center on the profile of the grid for Daughters of May. And if you're not too much into being on Instagram and you just came to see us, just like LaDonna, hi LaDonna who's just joined, then you can also check us out on YouTube. So this will be on the Daughters of May platform by this evening, all being well with technology, when we come off the live, and then I endeavor to get it onto YouTube by the end of the week. So they've got 2 options there to check it out. Please make sure you go to Tazi's Chi Life Foundation page for more information. We'll leave all the contact details and the information in the caption. Thanks again.
And the offer,
Yes,
Riasha.
talk to me about the offer. We like offers. This is wonderful.
Okay, so for everyone that's listening tonight, and if you're interested, we're offering a 30% discount, so a whopping 30% discount off the main 6 healing sounds Qigong ritual. That's going to be valid for the next 48 hours. So if it's something you're interested in, get that massive discount. You probably won't see it again this year.
So
in all honesty,
Daughters of May exclusive.
Because you have to put in the code. What's the code?
Oh, tell me the code. I'm still in my heart space.
May we talk?
May we talk. I love it.
May we talk is the code.
May we talk is the code to get 30% off for the Chi Life Foundation package and course that is looking at the sounds. And we just did an example of that. So when you watch back, you will see the heart sound, which really resonated with me physically and mentally, actually, because I'm very much a singer. So at heart, so things that incorporate body, mind, soul, and sound always speak to me. So thank you for that. Everyone's sending love hearts, waving emojis. Oh, Lemon Eye, thank you for joining us. Please do watch us back on the replay. And as I said, this will be on the Daughters of May page, also on YouTube by the end of the week. And we'll put all of the details for your May We Talk 30% off discount for Tazi's Chi Life Foundation package, and the rest of the details for Sembisa and Chi Life Foundation. Thank you again.
Thank you
for joining us.
And thanks everyone. Have a good evening. You all take care.
I'll talk to you after. Bye.
Yeah. Okay. Bye.
Bye. So you just press leave. There you go. I could literally speak to Tazi all evening. I cannot wait to go home. I'm sorry guys, but I cannot wait to go to Nottingham. I'm in London right now, for those that don't know. I cannot wait to go to Nottingham and do an in-person session, because she has, I'm sure you just encountered it online, she just has this like calming sense of control and fortitude. We spoke about the strength, that we don't want to necessarily use that trope, but I think it's the peace, the peacefulness that she's managed to cultivate through her practice of Qigong. I don't want to speak for her, but based on our conversation, it really, she really embodies it, and it's beautiful to see, and it's beautiful to be in the midst of. So I just feel like I was just there with a sensei master, just trying to get these little gems of knowledge. My mom is in the chat, and she said she's at the hairdressers. 3 people at the hairdressers were participating, doing the exercises. Oh my goodness. So I'm sure after that you've all fallen asleep under the hairdryers, because I know that I feel relaxed, I feel calm, I'm ready for bed. Thank you for joining us, share. Thank you everybody once again for joining May We Talk series episode 14, season 3, you guys, season 3. So it has been informative, it has been enlightening, and as I said, I'm gonna get offline because I want to make sure that I can save this episode and upload it real quick, because you've got 48 hours to use the discount for Tazi's Chi Life Foundation package that she will leave the details for, and I will also pin onto this episode. So the 30% off, you need to write May We Talk as your discount code. So that's May We Talk as your discount code to get 30% off with Tazi at the Chi Life Foundation. Details will be in the caption. Thanks again, take care, and we'll see you again on May We Talk. Bye.